Chapter 1. The Day I Spoke Too Fast. My name is Rehan. I have made many mistakes in life, but one of them still lives in my heart. It was a small moment, a small sentence, but it changed something inside me. It taught me a lesson I will never forget. It was the day I spoke too fast. It was a normal day. The sun was out. The sky was blue. I was walking with my sister. Her name is Mariam. She is younger than me. We were going to the market to buy some fruit. She was smiling. She was telling me a story about school. I was not really listening. I was busy. I was tired. I had many things in my mind. Work, studies, life. She didn't know that. She said something funny. She laughed. She waited for me to laugh too. But I didn't. I looked at her and said, "Can you stop talking so much?" My voice was sharp. My face was serious. I didn't think. I didn't pause. I just said it. Her smile stopped. Her face changed. She looked down. She didn't say anything. The road became quiet. The cars passed. The people walked. But we said nothing. I looked at her. She was still. Her hands were in her pockets. Her eyes were on the ground. I felt something inside me. Guilt. But I didn't say sorry. Not yet. I thought, it's not a big deal. But it was. It was a big deal for her. We walked in silence. We bought the fruit. We went home. That night, she didn't come to my room like she always did. She didn't ask me questions. She didn't tell me more stories. She stayed in her room. I sat on my bed. I remembered my words. They were short, just 6 words. But they had power, the wrong kind of power. I thought, why did I say that? What was the need? She was just happy. She just wanted to share her day. But I broke that moment, not with my hands, with my words, and I could not take them back. The next morning I went to her room. She was brushing her hair. I said, "Good morning." She said, "Good morning," back. But her voice was not the same. It was soft, flat, empty. I knew I had hurt her. I sat down next to her. I said, "I'm sorry." She looked at me. Her eyes were kind. She said, "It's okay." But I knew it still hurt. After that, I began to think about words. I began to think about how fast we speak, how sharp we can be, how one small sentence can cut deep. I started to watch myself. I started to count to 3 before speaking when I was angry. I started to breathe first, think first, then speak. That one moment with my sister changed me. It taught me that words are not air. They are not empty. They carry weight. They leave marks. We cannot see those marks. But they are real. They stay inside people. Just like that one sentence stayed inside her. Since then, I try to listen more. I try to smile more. I try to say kind things. And when I don't have kind things to say, I try to stay quiet. Silence is better than sharpness. A pause is better than pain. I also learned something important. When we speak fast, we are not in control. We are reacting, not thinking. But when we pause, we choose. And when we choose, we speak with care. We protect people. We protect ourselves. Now, whenever someone talks to me, I try to give them my full attention. Even if I am tired, even if I am busy. Because I remember that day. I remember Mariam's face. I remember her silence. And I never want to see that again. Speaking is easy, but good speaking is a skill. It needs time. It needs thought. It needs heart. That is why we must think and then speak, not just in English, but in every language, in every moment, with every person, because our words can build, or they can break, and it is our choice. That was the day I spoke too fast, and it became the day I started learning how to speak right. Chapter 2. My first English mistake. I still remember my first English mistake. It is not something I can forget. It was small, but it felt big. It stayed with me for a long time. It made me scared to speak. But it also taught me something important. It taught me that it is okay to pause. It is okay to think. We don't have to speak fast. We just have to speak right. I was new in my English class. I was excited. I wanted to speak. I wanted to show that I knew something. The teacher asked a question. She said, "What do you like to eat for lunch?" I knew the answer. I wanted to say, "I like chicken." That was all. Just a small sentence. Easy. But my brain was fast. Too fast. I wanted to sound smart. I wanted to use new words. I wanted to speak like native speakers. So I said, "I eat children." Not chicken. Children. The class went quiet. Then someone laughed. Then everyone laughed. I didn't understand at first. I looked around. My teacher looked surprised. She said, "What did you say?" I felt hot. My face was red. I said, "I eat, chicken?" But it was too late. They were already laughing. I wanted the ground to open. I wanted to run. I wanted to cry. It was just a sound. One wrong sound. But it changed the whole meaning. I didn't mean it. But I said it. And they laughed. That night, I didn't open my book. I didn't do my homework. I sat in my bed and thought about that moment again and again. I said to myself, why did I speak so fast? Why didn't I think first? I knew the word chicken. I had said it many times, but I was nervous. I wanted to impress. I didn't pause. I didn't breathe. From that day, I was quiet in class. I listened. I watched. But I didn't speak much. I was afraid. I thought, what if I make another mistake? That fear became my friend. It followed me every day. I stopped raising my hand. I stopped trying. Then one day, the teacher gave us a short role play. We had to act like we were at a restaurant. We had to order food in English. My partner was a kind girl. Her name was Aisha. She smiled and said, Don't worry, we'll go slow. I was scared, but I tried. I said, hello, I want, uh, I want to eat. And then I paused. I closed my eyes. I took a breath. I said, I want to eat rice. She smiled. She said, good job. That was the first time I paused on purpose. I didn't rush. I didn't try to be perfect. I just tried to be clear. And it worked. The words came, not fast, but right. That day, I learned something very useful. Speaking English is not about speed. It's not about long sentences. It's not about hard words. It's about being clear. And to be clear, we must first be calm. Now, when I speak English, I take small pauses. I breathe. I give my brain time. I tell myself, it's okay. You don't need to hurry. Think, then speak. It helps me. It gives me power. It gives me peace. I also stopped feeling bad about mistakes. Everyone makes them, even native speakers, even teachers. A mistake is just a step, a lesson, a part of the path. The real mistake is to stop trying. That first mistake still makes me smile today. I laugh, but kindly. I don't feel shame anymore, because it helped me grow. It helped me understand that thinking is part of speaking, a big part. So now, when I meet new learners, I tell them my story. I tell them about the day I said something wrong, the day I was laughed at, but also the day I started learning how to pause, how to breathe, how to think before I speak. And they listen, they smile, they feel safe, because they know they are not alone. We all make mistakes. What matters is what we do after. I still speak English every day. I still make small mistakes, but I don't freeze. I don't panic. I just stop, breathe, and begin again. Because I know now, the best English is not fast. The best English is true. And truth takes time. Chapter 3. Words have weight. I believe words can touch the heart. Not all words, not every word, but the right words, at the right time, can change a whole day. Sometimes, even a life. I remember one day very well. I was sitting alone in school. It was a bad day. I had forgotten my homework. I had failed a test. I was tired. I was angry at myself. I thought, maybe I'm not good enough. I looked down. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to eat. I just wanted the day to end. Then a friend came and sat beside me. His name was Salman. He didn't say much. He just looked at me and said, "You are trying. That's what matters." That's it. Just one line. But it felt big. It felt warm. It made me feel seen. It made me feel understood. That simple sentence gave me something. It gave me courage. It gave me energy. It didn't fix my test. It didn't bring my homework back, but it fixed my heart. It reminded me that mistakes are not the end, that trying is enough, that someone believes in me. Words can do that. Words can lift someone up. Words can bring light to a dark moment. That's why we must be careful, because the same way kind words heal, harsh words can hurt. There was another day. I had a small fight with my brother. He said something without thinking. He said, "You never do anything right." It was just a sentence, but it felt like a stone. It hit me hard. It stayed in my mind. For days I thought about it. I kept hearing that line again and again. I knew he didn't mean it. I knew he was just angry. But the words were already said. And once they were said, they couldn't be taken back. That's when I truly understood. Words are not small. Words are not light. Words are not just sound. They stay in the mind, in the heart, sometimes for years. Especially when we speak English, we need to be more careful. Because it's easy to say something wrong. It's easy to hurt someone without meaning to. One wrong word, one wrong tone, and the meaning changes. When I was learning English, I used to copy phrases from movies. I didn't always know what they meant. I remember one day I said to a girl in my class, "You talk too much." I thought it was funny. I had seen it in a film, but she didn't laugh. Her smile disappeared. She looked hurt. I wanted to explain, but the damage was done. Later, I learned the better way was to say, "You have a lot to say," or "I like how you talk." Words can be playful, but they must be kind. Words are not only for meaning, they are also for feeling. People remember how you made them feel. Now, I think before I speak. I ask myself, will this make someone smile? Or will this hurt? I don't always get it right, but I try. That is the difference. When I speak English now, I use simple words, but I use them with care. I say things like, "You did well." "I like your idea." "Thank you for your help." These are small, but they are powerful. They make people feel good. And when people feel good, they open their hearts. They speak more. They trust more. In school, at work, at home, words are everywhere. So we must use them like tools, not like weapons. If we don't think, we may break something. A friendship, a moment, a heart. But if we think, we can build something. A smile, a bond, a memory. Sometimes we don't need big grammar. We don't need fancy words. We just need to say the right thing. "I'm sorry." "I'm proud of you." "You can do it." These are not difficult, but they are deep. They go straight to the heart. So I tell myself every day, speak, but speak with care. Speak, but speak with heart. Because words have weight. They are not just air. They are not just noise. They mean something. They stay with people. They stay with us. Now, when someone talks to me, I listen first. Then I think. Then I speak. That small pause makes a big difference. It helps me say the right thing. It helps me be kind. It helps me be true. Because I know now, words are powerful, and I want my words to do good. Chapter 4. The Pause That Helps You Speak. I used to think silence was a bad thing. I thought it meant I didn't know the answer. I thought it made me look weak. So I tried to speak fast. I rushed my words. I didn't stop to think. I wanted to sound smart. I wanted to speak like native speakers. But the truth was, I was afraid of silence. One day, I was watching a video. It was a man from America giving a speech. He was confident. His voice was calm. He was talking slowly. But what surprised me was something small. He paused. He stopped between his words. He said, let me think. And then he smiled and continued. No one laughed. No one thought he was weak. In fact, everyone listened more carefully. That small moment opened my eyes. I thought, maybe silence is not a problem. Maybe it is part of speaking. I started to notice it more. Native speakers pause a lot. They say, I'm not sure. Or, well, maybe we can try this. They don't rush. They don't panic. They pause. It was different from what I was doing. I was trying to fill every second with words. I didn't want people to think I didn't know English, but I learned something important. Pausing is not a mistake. It's a skill. So I started to practice it. The next time someone asked me a question in English, I didn't answer right away. I took a breath. I said, that's a good question. Then I gave my answer. It felt strange at first, like I was taking too long. But something changed. My words came out better. My sentences made more sense. I was not just speaking. I was thinking. That pause gave me space. It gave my brain time. And slowly, I became more relaxed. I didn't freeze anymore. I didn't feel afraid. Because I knew I had a tool, a pause, a simple pause that helped me speak better. In class, my teacher asked, "What do you think about this story?" I looked down for a moment. I said, I think it was interesting, but a little sad. My voice was slow, but I didn't stop. I didn't rush. The teacher smiled. She said, "Good answer." I felt proud, not because it was perfect, but because it was honest, and it came with care. Now, when I speak English, I use little phrases to help me pause. I say things like, "Let me think. I'm not sure, but maybe. Well, it depends. I think so." These are soft phrases. They give me time. They help me stay calm. They also help the listener know I am thinking. And thinking is not a problem. It is power. I also noticed something else. When I paused, other people listened more. They gave me space. They waited. Because when we speak fast, people can get lost. But when we speak slow, with pauses, they follow. They understand better. It's not just good for us. It's good for them, too. One day I was helping my younger cousin with English. He said, "But I don't know how to say long sentences." I told him, "You don't need long sentences. You just need a little pause. Say something simple, then stop, then say more." He tried it. He said, "I like pause to play football, pause with my friends." It was not fast, but it was clear. He smiled. I smiled too. Since then, I tell every learner I meet, don't be afraid to pause. Don't be afraid of silence. Silence is part of speaking, just like breathing is part of singing. It gives you control. It gives your words meaning. I also practice this when I'm alone. I talk to myself. I look in the mirror and say, "Good morning. Today is Wednesday." I wait between words. I hear myself. I understand myself. That's how my fluency grows. Not in speed, but in silence. Sometimes I still feel nervous. Sometimes my words still get stuck. But now, I know what to do. I stop. I breathe. I say, and then I continue. Because I've learned that the pause is not a stop. It is a bridge, a soft step, a moment to choose the right word, the kind word, the true word. Speaking English is not a race, it is a journey. And on this journey, silence is not the enemy. It is the friend that walks beside you. It is the space that helps you think. And thinking is the first step to speaking well. So now, every time I feel the rush, I remind myself, pause, breathe, think, then speak. That small pause has become my secret, and I carry it with me every time I open my mouth. Chapter 5. From Reaction to Response. There is a big difference between a reaction and a response. They may sound the same, but they are not. A reaction is fast. It is loud. It is full of emotion. A response is slow. It is calm. It is full of thought. And when we speak in English, this difference matters more than we think. I learned this lesson on a normal morning at school. We were sitting in class. The teacher had given us a small group activity. We had to choose a topic and give a short speech in English. I was in a group with 3 other students. One of them was a boy named Hamza. He was clever, but he was also quick to speak. We started discussing our topic. I said, "Maybe we can talk about saving water." Another girl said, "Or we can talk about food waste." Then Hamza said, "No, those are boring. Let's talk about football. Everyone likes football." His voice was loud. His face was serious. He didn't ask. He didn't wait. He just reacted. The girl looked down. She didn't speak again. I said, "I don't know much about football." Hamza crossed his arms and said, "Then don't speak. Just listen." That sentence hit me hard. It was not just rude. It was sharp. The mood of the group changed. It became cold, silent. The teacher walked by. She asked, "Is everything okay?" No one answered. The group was broken. not because of the topic, but because of one reaction, a fast reaction, a careless one. Later that day, the teacher gave another task. This time, we were in different groups. I was with a boy named Imran. He was quiet. He didn't speak much in class, but when he spoke, he was soft and clear. During the activity, I made a mistake. I used the wrong word in my sentence. I said, "We should respect the pollution." I meant to say, "protect the planet." Everyone laughed a little. I felt my face turn red. I looked down, but Imran didn't laugh. He waited. Then he said gently, "Maybe you meant protect the planet?" His voice was kind. His eyes were calm. He didn't correct me to feel smart. He helped me to feel safe. That was a response. A real response. Not fast, not angry, but full of thought. After class, I thought about both moments. Hamza reacted. Imran responded. One moment hurt me. The other lifted me. One made me afraid to speak. The other gave me courage. That's when I understood something important. English is not only grammar. It is not only words. It is behavior. It is how we speak, how we use our voice, how we treat people with it. Many times, learners focus only on vocabulary, only on pronunciation, but they forget to learn patience, respect, softness. These are also part of good English, because the way we speak shows who we are. Now, when someone makes a mistake, I try to be like Imran. I don't laugh. I don't react fast. I take a small pause. I breathe. Then I speak with care. I say, "It's okay. We all make mistakes." Or, "That's close. Let's try again." And when someone says something I don't agree with, I try not to speak right away. I ask myself, do I want to be right or do I want to be kind? Most times, I choose kind. Because kind words stay longer. They build bridges. Fast words build walls. One day, in a group activity, a new student made many mistakes. He said, "I is good. I go to school yesterday." Some students laughed. I didn't. I smiled and said, "I think you mean, I was good. I went to school yesterday." You're close. He smiled back. He nodded. He tried again. This time, his voice was stronger. That was a moment of response. And it worked. I keep learning this every day, not just in class, but at home, at work, in life. When someone says something rude, I don't speak back right away. I think. I ask myself, what is the best thing to say? Not the loudest, not the smartest, but the best. Because words can fix, or they can fight. And I want my words to fix. Speaking English is not just about fluency. It's about behavior. It's about how we make people feel. If we speak with care, people will listen. If we speak with thought, people will respect us. So I say to every learner, slow down, don't react, respond, breathe before you speak, feel the moment, think of the person, then use your words, not as weapons, but as gifts. That is the kind of English the world needs, and that is the kind of English I want to speak. Chapter 6. Practice makes thoughtful speaking. When I first started learning English, I thought I had to speak fast to sound good. I thought fluent people speak like machines. No pauses, no mistakes, just fast, flowing English. So I tried to do the same. I rushed. I stumbled. I forgot words. And I felt bad. Then I discovered something. Real speaking is not fast talking. It is slow thinking. The best speakers are not the fastest. They are the calmest. They speak with care. They take their time. They choose their words. That's when I started to understand. Good speaking needs practice, but not just any practice. It needs thoughtful practice. One day, I watched a video of a girl speaking English in front of her class. She was not fast, but she was clear. She paused. She smiled. She looked at her teacher, then at her friends. She said, "Let me think. I want to say that my favorite food is, pasta." Everyone clapped, not because it was perfect, but because it was real, and it came from the heart. I asked myself, how can I speak like that? So I started small. I found a quiet place in my room. I stood in front of the mirror. I looked at my own eyes, and I began to speak. At first I just said, "Good morning. My name is Rehan. I feel good today." Then I paused. I took a breath. I added more. "I will study now. Later, I will eat lunch. Then, I will go for a walk." I watched my face. I watched my mouth. I listened to my voice. That was my first mirror practice. It was not hard. It was not long. But it was honest. I did it every morning, just 5 minutes. I talked to myself. Sometimes I told a story. Sometimes I described the room. Sometimes I just said how I felt. I am tired. I am happy. I am thinking. The mirror helped me slow down. It helped me become my own listener. Another thing that helped me was writing before speaking. When I had to talk in class, I would first write my thoughts. Not a full script, just ideas, just short lines. For example, if the teacher asked, "What do you do after school?" I would write, "Come home, eat, rest, play, study." Then, when it was my turn to speak, I looked at my list. I said, "After school, I come home, I eat something, then I rest. Sometimes I play with friends. In the evening, I study." Writing gave me a plan. It gave me time to think before I spoke. And when I had time to think, my words came easier. I also started recording my voice. I used my phone. I sat on my bed. I pressed record. I said something simple like, "Today was a good day. I went to school. I learned something new." Then I stopped the recording. I listened. I noticed my speed, my mistakes, my pauses. Sometimes I said too much. Sometimes I spoke too fast. I didn't feel bad. I just learned from it. The next day I tried again. I said the same thing but slower, with care, with feeling. I said, "Today was a good day. I went to school. I learned something new. It was better. Not perfect, but better. These small exercises helped me build a new habit. The habit of stopping before speaking. The habit of thinking before saying. The habit of caring about my words. Sometimes when I walk outside, I play a small game. I look around and make sentences in my mind. This is a tree. That boy is running. The road is empty. I do it slowly. I think about the words before I say them in my head. That's also practice. Silent practice, but powerful. One day, in class, a teacher said, "What's the most important skill in English?" Some said grammar. Some said vocabulary. I raised my hand and said, "Thinking." The teacher smiled. She said, "That's a smart answer." And I smiled too, because I knew how hard I had worked to learn that truth. Now, when people ask me, "How can I speak English better?" I tell them this: stop, think, then go. Speak with thought, not with rush. Slow is strong. Because speaking English is not a race. It's a conversation. It's about connection, and connection needs care. So every day I still practice. I look in the mirror. I write my ideas. I record my voice. I speak with pauses. And I tell myself, you don't need to be fast. You just need to be true. That is how thoughtful speaking begins. Not in a classroom, not in a test, but in the quiet moments, in the mirror, in your notebook, in your heart. Chapter 7: A New Way to Speak. Sometimes I sit alone and think about how far I've come, not just in English, but in the way I speak, the way I listen, the way I use my words. When I started, I thought speaking English meant big words, fast sentences, perfect grammar. I was wrong. I tried to speak fast. I wanted to sound smart, but I forgot something. I forgot to think. I made mistakes. I hurt feelings. I froze in class. I laughed when someone made an error, only to feel that same pain later when it happened to me. My words were not ready, because my thoughts were not ready. Then, slowly, I learned. One chapter at a time. One small lesson at a time. I learned to pause. I learned to breathe. I learned that silence is not a weakness. It is a sign of care. I learned that it's okay to stop and say, "Let me think." I learned that words can lift people or break them. And once they're spoken, they cannot come back. That's why they must be used with care. I learned to practice, not just speaking, but thinking. In front of the mirror, with a notebook, with my own voice in a recording. I learned to speak not to impress, but to connect. Now, I don't speak fast. I don't chase speed. I choose peace. I choose truth. I choose the quiet power of a calm voice and a thoughtful heart. When I speak now, I think first. I ask myself, is this kind? Is this clear? Will this help? This is not just for English. This is for everything, for family, for friends, for work, for life. There was a time I would answer quickly, without care. Now, I wait. I listen. I give space to others, and I give space to myself. People have noticed. A friend once said, "You speak differently now." I smiled. I said, "I speak with more thought." He said, "I can feel it." That is the power of thinking before speaking. People can feel it. They can feel the respect. They can feel the honesty. And when people feel that, they trust you. They listen to you. They open up. This is not something you find in a textbook. You don't learn it in one day, but you learn it with time, with practice, with care. Now, when I hear someone speak too fast, I understand. I was there once too. I don't laugh. I don't judge. I just want to tell them, you don't need to rush. Your voice matters. Let it grow, slowly. I believe that thoughtful speaking is a kind of strength. It's quiet. It's soft. But it's strong. It makes people feel safe. And it makes you feel calm. English is not just a language. It's a bridge. And the best bridges are built slowly, with care. One word at a time. One pause at a time. So, if you're reading this or listening to this and you're still learning, keep going. Don't worry about fast speech. Don't chase perfection. Don't fear silence. Your words are enough. Your thoughts are enough. You just have to give them space to grow. You don't have to speak like anyone else. You don't have to sound perfect. You don't have to be quick. You just have to be real. Be kind. Be honest. And always remember, you don't have to speak fast. You just have to speak with heart. That is the new way to speak. And it is the most powerful way of all.